Stop everything you're doing right now. Close every other tab. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Because what I'm about to tell you is hands down the most ruthless, most diabolical, most absolutely psychotic thing that has happened in a rap beef since Tupac went scorched earth on Biggie at the '96 Source Awards. And it doesn't involve a single lyric. Not one bar. Not one beat. Not one hook. Not one ad-lib. Nothing. 50 Cent. The same man who dismantled Ja Rule's career so thoroughly that the man is still doing Versus battles for relevance. The same man who turned Rick Ross's correctional officer past into a permanent internet punchline has just done something to Papoose that I genuinely cannot believe I'm sitting here reporting on. He didn't write a verse. He didn't book studio time. He didn't call up Dr. Dre or Eminem or anybody else for a beat. Instead, Curtis James Jackson III allegedly went out and found a man, a real breathing, walking, talking man, who claims he was romantically involved with Papoose's woman, Clarissa Shields, the undisputed, unified, Olympic gold medal winning, pound-for-pound greatest female boxer on planet Earth. And this man didn't just whisper it in some back alley or leak it through anonymous sources. No, he sat down, he looked directly into a camera, and he told the entire world every single detail, with specifics, with furniture descriptions, with holiday timelines, with FaceTime call breakdowns. I'm dead serious. And 50 Cent hit the share button like it was a nuclear launch code. Now, before we dive into the absolute wreckage of what happened here, I need you to do something for me. I need you to smash that like button and hit subscribe immediately. Because the people who don't want this story out there, the ones working overtime to scrub this from the internet, they are banking on the algorithm burying this video. The only weapon we have against that is your engagement. Every like, every subscribe, every comment tells the algorithm that this content matters. So do your part right now and let's get into the most strategically ruthless move in the entire history of hip-hop rivalries. And trust me, by the time I'm done breaking this down, you're going to look at 50 Cent completely differently. Whether that's with admiration or disgust, that's entirely up to you. Alright, let me paint the full picture here because most channels covering this are giving you the surface-level version. They're giving you the Twitter summary, the Instagram caption recap. I'm not doing that. I'm going deep. I'm going to tell you everything. This beef between 50 Cent and Papoose didn't start last week. It didn't start last month. The roots of this tension stretch back years. These two have occupied completely different lanes in hip-hop, but their worlds have always orbited close enough for friction. 50 Cent came up as the commercial juggernaut, the man who dropped Get Rich or Die Tryin' and sold nearly 1 million copies in his first week. The man who, alongside Eminem and Dr. Dre, completely reshaped what mainstream rap looked like in the early 2000s. G-Unit wasn't just a group, it was a cultural movement. The bulletproof vest, the headband, the Reebok deal, the vitamin water play that made him 9 figures. 50 Cent transcended rap. He became a brand, a mogul, a television executive, a man who understood that the music was just the entry point into something much, much bigger. Papoose, on the other hand, came up as the underground king, the lyrical assassin, the man who could body any freestyle session, dominate any cipher, and reduce any opponent to rubble with nothing but syllables and breath control. If you were in New York in the mid-2000s, if you were tuned into the mixtape circuit, if you were the kind of hip-hop fan who cared about actual rapping, then you knew Papoose was a problem. His wordplay was vicious. His delivery was surgical. His pen game was on a level that most commercial rappers couldn't even comprehend, let alone compete with. But here's where the divide always existed. Papoose never crossed over. He never had that mainstream moment. He never had that one record that penetrated pop culture the way Into Club or Many Men did. And in hip-hop, rightly or wrongly, that commercial gap has always been used as ammunition. You can be the most skilled rapper breathing, but if nobody outside of the underground knows your name, the mainstream world treats you like you don't exist. And 50 Cent has been weaponizing that exact narrative for 20 years. So when Papoose finally decided to aim his cannons directly at Curtis Jackson, he wasn't just taking a shot at a rapper. He was challenging the entire system that kept him on the margins while less skilled artists dominated the spotlight. There was weight behind that decision. There was history. There was frustration. And there was undeniable, unmistakable hunger. The track was called Agent Provocateur. 5 full minutes. Not a 3-minute commercial record with a catchy hook. 5 minutes of dense, relentless, meticulously crafted bars aimed squarely at 50 Cent's entire existence. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you right now because that's what you come to this channel for. That track was phenomenal. Papoose went absolutely berserk on that record. He brought up 50's business dealings, his personal relationships, his credibility as a street figure, his transition into television, his relationships with other artists. And he did it all with the kind of lyrical precision that most rappers in 2026 simply cannot replicate. The multi-syllabic rhyme schemes alone were enough to make any real hip-hop head rewind 3 or 4 times per bar. It wasn't just a diss track. It was a dissertation, a 5-minute masterclass in the art of lyrical demolition. And when it dropped, the hip-hop internet erupted. The reaction was overwhelming. People who hadn't thought about Papoose in a decade were suddenly sharing the track. Blogs were covering it. Reaction channels were going crazy. The consensus was clear. Papoose had just dropped one of the hardest 50 Cent diss records in the history of anyone dissing 50 Cent. And that's saying something, because a lot of people have tried to come at 50 over the years. Ja Rule tried. Fat Joe tried. Rick Ross tried. The Game tried. And most of them came out on the losing end. But Papoose's approach was different. He wasn't relying on gimmicks or personal drama. He was relying on pure, uncut lyricism. The kind of rapping that hip-hop was built on. The kind that makes you pause the track and say, wait, what did he just say? So naturally, the entire world turned its attention to 50 Cent and asked the only question that mattered. What are you going to do now, Curtis? And the answer, my friends, is where this story goes completely off the rails. Here's what 50 Cent did in the immediate aftermath of Agent Provocateur dropping. Nothing musical. Not a single bar. His first move was to go on social media and essentially say that Papoose wasn't worth responding to. He pointed to the streaming numbers. He pointed to the lack of commercial hits. He made the argument that responding to Papoose would actually elevate Papoose, and that as a multi-platinum, multi-millionaire entertainment mogul, giving Papoose the time of day would be doing charity work. And I'll be honest, there's a certain cold logic to that position. If you're 50 Cent and you've sold tens of millions of records worldwide, and you've got a television empire, and you've got business interests that span multiple industries, there is a legitimate argument that responding to an underground rapper's diss track could be seen as punching down. But here's where 50's logic falls apart. And I mean completely collapses. Because while 50 was telling the world he wasn't going to respond to Papoose, he was simultaneously posting about Papoose every single day. Multiple times a day. Memes, jokes, screenshots, commentary, subposts, direct posts. The man was creating an entire content calendar around a person he claimed he didn't care about. Think about that for a second. Really sit with the absurdity of that. Imagine someone texting you 47 times in a row to tell you they're not thinking about you. Imagine someone showing up at your house every morning with a megaphone to announce they couldn't care less about your existence. That's essentially what 50 Cent was doing. And somehow, a significant portion of his fan base was eating it up. Now, around the same period, 50 did release some music. There was an AI-assisted visual record featuring Max B that got mixed reviews. Some people thought it was innovative. Others thought it was a gimmick. There was also another track that surfaced, and a lot of people genuinely thought it was solid. 50 can still rap. His flow is still there. His delivery still carries that menacing Queen's energy that made him an icon. Nobody with any credibility is denying that Curtis Jackson still has the ability to pick up a microphone and do damage. But the question everyone kept asking was simple and direct. If you can still rap, then why aren't you rapping? If you've still got it, then why are we looking at Instagram memes instead of listening to a response record? Some of 50's defenders said he was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. They said he was being strategic by not elevating Papoose with a direct musical response. And maybe there's some truth to that. But what happened next blew that entire narrative to pieces. Because 50 Cent didn't stay in the lane of casual social media trolling. He didn't just keep posting memes and moving on with his day. Number 50 Cent turned this entire situation into something much darker, much more personal, and much more uncomfortable. It started gradually. First came the jokes about Clarissa Shields' appearance. The short haircut, the masculine energy jokes. The kind of low-effort, low-intellect humor that 50 has always defaulted to when he wants to agitate someone. And look, that's par for the course with 50. Immature? Sure. Expected? Absolutely. That's been his playbook since day one, and nobody should have been surprised. But then 50 posted something that shifted the entire dynamic of this beef. He wrote a caption, and I'm paraphrasing here, telling Papoose to ask Clarissa about somebody named Maserati Bud. He told Papoose to tell Clarissa to be honest about it. And then he added the detail that sent the internet into a complete frenzy. He claimed to have Ring camera footage. Ring camera footage. Not screenshots. Not hearsay. Not someone told me. Ring camera footage. Physical, digital, time-stamped, visual evidence of whatever he was alleging. Now, whether that footage actually exists is something nobody has been able to confirm. As of right now, no Ring camera video has surfaced publicly. But the mere mention of it changed the entire trajectory of this beef. Because 50 wasn't just trolling anymore. He was making a specific, evidence-based threat. He was saying to Papoose, "Not only do I know something about your personal life, but I can prove it. And I will prove it whenever I decide to." That is a fundamentally different level of psychological warfare than posting a funny meme. And then came the video. Maserati Bud, whoever this man is, sat down in front of a camera and started talking. And what came out of his mouth was the kind of detailed, specific, uncomfortably personal narrative that you cannot unhear once you've heard it. He claimed he had a relationship with Clarissa Shields. Not a one-time encounter. Not a brief fling. A relationship. He described being present in her home on Christmas Day. He claimed that while Clarissa was on FaceTime with Papoose, he was sitting right there in the same room, in a chair that he said he personally helped her pick out as a housewarming gift. He went further and claimed that he had helped furnish parts of her home, including the bed in her bedroom. The level of detail was either the product of genuine personal experience or an extraordinarily committed fabrication. And I want to be crystal clear about something because responsible reporting requires it. None of these claims have been independently verified. As of this moment, this is one man's account. One person's version of events. Clarissa Shields has not confirmed any of it. Papoose has not confirmed any of it. There is no Ring camera footage that has been made public. These are allegations, and they should be treated as such. But here's the thing that matters more than whether the claims are true or false. 50 Cent amplified them. He took this man's video and blasted it to his massive platform. Millions and millions of followers across Instagram, Twitter, and every other social media platform 50 operates on. He turned a random person's unverified claims into headline news. He took what might have been an obscure video that would have gotten a few thousand views and turned it into a cultural moment. That was a deliberate, calculated choice. And it reveals the exact blueprint of how 50 Cent approaches conflict. He doesn't want to meet you on equal ground. He doesn't want a fair fight. He doesn't want a battle where the outcome is determined by who has the better bars. 50 Cent wants to humiliate you so completely, so thoroughly, so publicly that the concept of winning becomes irrelevant. He wants you so consumed by personal chaos that you can't even function, let alone write a diss track. He did it to Ja Rule when he went after Ashanti. He did it to Rick Ross when he dug up the correctional officer photos. He did it to the game when he provoked internal G-Unit chaos. He even did it to his own biological son, publicly mocking him on social media for the world to see. This is not new behavior. This is who 50 Cent has always been. But that doesn't make it right. And that's where I need to get something off my chest. This is weak behavior. Point blank. Period. Full stop. No qualifications. And I say that with the full weight of being someone who has followed 50 Cent's career from the very beginning. From How to Rob. From Guess Who's Back. From the legendary mixtape run that made him the most feared man in New York before he even had a major label deal. I have been a student of 50 Cent's career for over 2 decades. I have deep respect and appreciation for what he has accomplished in hip-hop, in business, and in entertainment. But respect doesn't mean blind loyalty. And being a fan doesn't mean co-signing everything. There is a code. There has always been a code. And the code is simple. You don't bring civilians into a rap beef. You don't drag someone's partner, spouse, or significant other through the mud because you don't feel like writing a verse. You don't use a woman's personal life as a weapon in a battle that she never signed up for. And I want to address something that Maserati Bud himself said in that video, because the irony is so thick you could spread it on toast. He literally said, and I'm not making this up, that where he comes from, in Miami, real men don't talk about what they do with women. He said that, out loud, on camera. And then, in the same video, in the same sitting, he proceeded to describe in detail what he allegedly did with Clarissa Shields. That's not just a contradiction. That's a paradox of human behavior. That's a man saying, I would never gossip, while simultaneously pulling out charts, graphs, and a laser pointer for his gossip presentation. That's saying, I'm a private person while live streaming your diary entries. And it would be funny if someone's real life wasn't being affected by it. Because let me tell you something from personal observation, from watching how these situations play out in real life, not just in hip-hop, but in everyday communities. I have personally witnessed situations where men made claims about women that turned out to be completely fabricated. I have seen the devastating aftermath of those false narratives. The embarrassment, the broken trust, the damage to reputations that took years to build. Real men, truly secure men, men who actually have something going on in their lives, do not broadcast their intimate relationships on camera for the approval of strangers. That's not how genuine confidence operates. That's not how actual maturity manifests. The people who move in silence are the ones who actually have something to protect. And when someone gets on camera with that level of enthusiasm about another person's private life, my first instinct isn't to believe them. My first instinct is to question their motivation. What's in it for Maserati Bud? Why now? Why on camera? Why with this level of public detail? And most importantly, who connected him with 50 Cent's platform? Those questions matter. And until they're answered satisfactorily, I'm treating this entire spectacle with the skepticism it deserves. Now let me shift gears because I want to give you the deeper strategic analysis that nobody else is providing. 50 Cent has been making references to the algorithm throughout this entire beef. He's mentioned it multiple times. And I think that tells us something critical about his actual strategy. See, in 2026, hip-hop beefs are not just about music anymore. They're about attention economics. They're about engagement metrics. They're about who can dominate the social media news cycle for the longest period of time. And in that arena, 50 Cent is an absolute grandmaster. Think about this objectively. Papoose's Agent Provocateur was a lyrical masterpiece. 5 minutes of elite-level rapping. Wordplay that would make English professors take notes. Flow patterns that demonstrated decades of honed craft. It was, by any traditional hip-hop metric, a devastating piece of work. But here's the brutal reality of the modern attention economy. How many people listen to all 5 minutes? How many casual fans, the ones who determine cultural relevance, actually sat through a dense, bar-heavy, lyrically complex 5-minute diss track from a rapper they couldn't name a single commercial hit from? Now compare that to 50 Cent's Instagram posts. Short, visual, immediately digestible, shareable, memeable, controversial enough to generate comments, outrageous enough to generate quote tweets, personal enough to generate think pieces and reaction videos. The memes from 50's posts almost certainly reached more eyeballs than Papoose's entire diss track. The Maserati Bud video probably got more engagement in its first hour than Agent Provocateur got in its first week. And that's the heartbreaking paradox of hip-hop in the streaming era. The best rapper doesn't win the beef. The best content creator does. The person who understands how to manipulate algorithmic distribution, how to create shareable moments, how to generate the kind of controversy that feeds the 24-hour content cycle, that person wins. Regardless of whether they can actually rap better. 50 Cent understood this before almost anyone in hip-hop. He was trolling on the internet before trolling was even a word that people used casually. He was winning beefs through embarrassment while other rappers were still trying to win through punchlines. He was playing a completely different game, and by the time everyone else figured out the rules, 50 was already 3 moves ahead. But, and this is crucial, understanding why something works strategically doesn't mean we have to celebrate it. I can acknowledge that 50 Cent is a genius at what he does while simultaneously saying that what he does is often beneath the dignity of a grown man. Both things can be true at the same time. Now I need to connect some dots that most people covering this story are deliberately avoiding because the broader context makes this entire situation exponentially more complicated. For those following the wider hip-hop landscape, Papoose was already dealing with a turbulent personal situation before 50 Cent decided to throw gasoline on it. The situation involving Remy Ma, Papoose's ex, had already generated significant public attention. There were allegations, counter-allegations, and enough drama to fill an entire season of a reality show. Then you had the Easy the Block Captain angle adding another layer of complexity to Papoose's public narrative. So by the time 50 Cent entered the equation and started throwing Clarissa Shields' name into the mix, Papoose was already under siege from multiple directions. His personal life was already a topic of public discussion. His relationships were already being dissected by internet commentators. And 50 knew this. Of course he knew this. 50 Cent didn't accidentally stumble into this situation. He assessed the battlefield, identified that his opponent was already weakened, already distracted, already dealing with personal chaos on multiple fronts, and then he piled on with the most personal attack he could find. That's not brave. That's not gangster. That's not even clever. That's opportunistic. That's a man kicking someone while they're dealing with personal turmoil and calling it strategy. But it's also, and I hate to admit this, devastatingly effective. Because how does Papoose respond to all of this simultaneously? How do you write a diss track when your personal life is being deconstructed in real time on the world's largest social media platforms? How do you focus on bars when someone is broadcasting allegations about your relationship to millions of people? That's the genius and the cruelty of 50's approach. He doesn't just attack your music or your career. He creates so much personal noise, so much emotional disturbance, so much chaos in every area of your life that you can't even think clearly enough to mount a coherent response. Destabilize, humiliate, repeat. That's the 50 Cent formula. It's been the formula for 20 years, and it still works. And now I need to address what is, in my opinion, the most troubling aspect of this entire situation. Clarissa Shields deserves better than this. Full stop. No debate. This is a woman who has accomplished things in her sport that most athletes can only dream of. Olympic gold medals, unified titles across multiple weight classes, a legacy that will be talked about for generations in the world of boxing. She has dedicated her entire life to the pursuit of greatness, sacrificed her body, her time, her comfort, everything, to become the absolute best at what she does. And now her name is trending on social media, not because of a fight she won, not because of a title she defended, not because of some remarkable athletic achievement, but because two rappers are beefing, and some man from Miami decided to broadcast claims about her personal life to the entire internet. That should make every single person watching this uncomfortable. That should make everyone angry. Because Clarissa Shields didn't start this beef. She didn't drop a diss track. She didn't post any memes. She didn't ask to be dragged into a rivalry between two men who have nothing to do with her career, her legacy, or her accomplishments. And yet here she is, collateral damage in a war she never enlisted for. Hip-hop has a long and deeply problematic history of bringing women into beefs as ammunition. We saw it when Tupac made claims about Biggie's wife. We saw it when 50 went after Rick Ross's baby mother. We saw it when Pusha T revealed information about Drake's son and his mother. Every single time, the same conversation happens afterward. Leave the women and children out of it. Handle your business man to man, bar for bar, track for track. And every single time, that conversation fades and the next beef does the exact same thing. At what point do we stop just talking about it and actually hold people accountable for it? At what point do we say, as a culture, as a community, that this behavior is unacceptable regardless of how entertaining it might be? Because entertainment doesn't justify everything. Views don't justify everything. Engagement metrics don't justify destroying an innocent person's public image for content. Now, I want to be fair and thorough, so let me present the one scenario where all of this makes strategic sense and could actually be seen as brilliant. If 50 Cent is building towards something, if all of this chaos, the memes, the Maserati Bud video, the Ring camera threats, the Clarissa Shields trolling, if all of this is the prologue to an actual diss track, then we're witnessing something unprecedented. Imagine the setup. 2 or 3 weeks of constant social media bombardment. Every person who follows hip-hop is now saturated in this narrative. The memes are burned into people's brains. The allegations are common knowledge. The names, the details, the furniture descriptions, all of it is floating around in the collective consciousness of the internet. And then 50 drops a track. A real track. With bars. With a beat. With that signature 50 Cent delivery. And every single line in that track references something that the internet has already been marinating in for weeks. Every bar about Clarissa hits different because people have already seen the memes. Every reference to Maserati Bud lands harder because people have already watched the video. Every punchline carries the weight of weeks of psychological conditioning. That wouldn't just be a diss track. That would be the most meticulously pre-market piece of competitive rap music ever created. Every social media post would retroactively become a promotional teaser. Every meme would become a trailer for the main event. If that's what 50 is building toward, then I'll tip my hat. I'll acknowledge the genius. I'll admit that what looked like desperate trolling was actually the most sophisticated diss track rollout strategy in hip-hop history. But that track has to actually materialize. Because without it, all we have is a wealthy, famous, middle-aged man cyberbullying people on Instagram and calling it victory. And that's not genius. That's just sad. So let me give you my honest, unfiltered assessment of this beef as it stands at this exact moment. In terms of the rap battle itself, and I cannot stress this enough, this is supposed to be a rap battle. Papoose is winning. Decisively. Overwhelmingly. Without question. He dropped a lyrical nuclear bomb in the form of Agent Provocateur, and 50 Cent has not responded with a single bar. In the traditional framework of hip-hop competition, where the person with the better verses wins, this isn't even a contest right now. Papoose is standing in the ring alone because his opponent never showed up. In terms of the internet war, 50 is dominating. More engagement, more views, more conversation, more memes, more trending topics. 50 has turned this into a content creation masterclass, even if the content itself is morally questionable. He's generating more discussion with his Instagram posts than Papoose generated with an elite-level diss track. That's the power of platform, fame, and understanding how the modern attention economy works. But here's my fundamental position on this, and it's the hill I'm willing to stand on. This started as a rap beef. The word rap is literally in the description. When one person delivers a 5-minute lyrical assault and the other person responds with memes, third-party cheating allegations, and cyberbullying, the rapper is winning. Period. You can have more followers and still lose a rap battle. You can have more money and still lose a rap battle. You can have more memes and still lose a rap battle. Because a rap battle, by definition, requires rapping. And 50 Cent has not rapped. I also need to address the elephant in the room that multiple commentators have pointed out. 50 keeps publicly declaring that he isn't responding to Papoose. He keeps saying Papoose isn't worth his time. He keeps claiming that acknowledging Papoose would be beneath him. But then he posts about Papoose every single day. Sometimes multiple times a day, with increasing intensity and increasingly personal attacks. That's responding. That is, by every possible definition, a response. You cannot dedicate hours of your day to creating content about someone and then claim you're ignoring them. That defies basic logic. That's like running a full marathon and then saying you didn't exercise today. And here's what I think is actually happening beneath the surface. I think Agent Provocateur hit harder than 50 expected. I think those bars got under his skin in a way that he wasn't prepared for. And I think the reason he hasn't responded musically is not that he doesn't think Papoose is worth it, but that he's not confident he can match the quality of what Papoose delivered. That's speculation on my part. I'll own that. But it's educated speculation based on 20+ years of watching how 50 Cent operates. When 50 is confident he can win a musical exchange, he doesn't hesitate. Look at how quickly he responded to Ja Rule. Look at how he handled the game situation. When 50 knows he's got the better track, he releases it immediately because the music becomes another weapon in his arsenal. The fact that he hasn't released anything, while simultaneously refusing to let the beef die, tells me he's choosing the battlefield where he knows he has the advantage. And that battlefield is social media, not the recording booth. At least not against Papoose. At least not right now. So where does this go from here? Because this situation is far from over. The embers are still burning, and any one of several developments could turn this into a full-blown inferno. Scenario 1, 50 drops a diss track. If this happens, especially if it's good, the entire narrative shifts. All the trolling retroactively becomes strategic setup, and the beef enters a new, potentially legendary phase. This is the outcome that benefits hip-hop the most because it would give us an actual musical exchange between two capable MCs. Scenario 2. 50 continues the social media warfare without ever releasing music. If this happens, 50 wins the internet and Papoose wins the rap battle. The beef eventually fades into history as a cautionary tale about what happens when content creation replaces actual artistry. Scenario 3. Papoose drops a second diss track. If Papoose is smart, and I believe he is, he capitalizes on this moment. He uses the massive attention that 50 has inadvertently given him to release more music. Because here's the supreme irony that I don't think 50 has fully considered. By obsessively posting about Papoose, 50 has introduced Papoose to millions of people who might not have thought about him in years. Every single 50 Cent post about Papoose puts Papoose's name in front of an enormous audience. If Papoose converts even a small percentage of those eyeballs into fans, 50 will have accidentally done more for Papoose's visibility than any marketing campaign could have. Scenario 4. The Ring camera footage surfaces. If 50 actually has video evidence and releases it, this beef transcends hip-hop entirely and becomes a mainstream media story. That's a Pandora's box that would have consequences for everyone involved, especially Clarissa Shields, who, again, did not ask for any of this. Regardless of which direction this goes, one thing is certain. This beef has already exposed some uncomfortable truths about where hip-hop is in 2026. The fact that trolling and personal attacks generate more engagement than elite lyricism tells us something about our culture that we might not want to confront. The fact that a man's platform and follower count can be weaponized more effectively than his pen game tells us something about what we value. And the fact that an innocent woman's reputation can be used as ammunition in a beef between two men tells us something about how far we still have to go. If commercial success and social media dominance become the only metrics that matter in competitive hip-hop, then nobody will ever challenge anyone above their weight class again. And some of the most iconic moments in hip-hop history came from exactly those kinds of challenges. Ether exists because Nas believed skill trumped status. Hit 'em Up exists because Pac believed intensity trumped industry politics. No Vaseline exists because Cube believed truth trumped numbers. If we lose the belief that a superior pen can overcome a superior platform, we lose something that is absolutely fundamental to what makes hip-hop the most compelling art form in modern history. And I refuse to accept that. So now I need to hear from you. And I mean really hear from you. Not surface-level takes. Not recycled opinions from Twitter threads. I want your actual, thought-out perspective. What do you think about 50 Cent's approach? Is this the work of a strategic mastermind who has evolved beyond traditional rap beefs into a new form of competitive dominance? Or is this a deeply disappointing fall from grace for a man who was once one of the most feared battle rappers in New York City? Do you believe 50 is eventually going to step into the booth and deliver a proper response track? Or has social media warfare permanently replaced musical competition as his preferred method of conflict resolution? What about Maserati Bud? Do you find his claims credible? Or does the entire situation feel staged, manufactured, and designed for maximum virality at someone else's expense? And the question that matters most to me personally, should Clarissa Shields' name be anywhere near this beef? Should a champion athlete's personal life be weaponized as content in a dispute she never participated in? Drop everything in the comments. I read every single one. If you made it to this point in the video, you are genuinely part of the core audience that keeps this channel alive, and I do not take that for granted. Every like, every subscribe, every share pushes this content out to more people who care about hip-hop with the same passion that we do. The algorithm doesn't promote depth. It promotes engagement. So your support is literally the difference between this video reaching 10,000 people or 10 million. I am grateful. Genuinely deeply grateful. Now, if you want the complete bar-by-bar breakdown of Papoose's Agent Provocateur, and you want to understand exactly why people are calling it one of the most devastating diss tracks of the decade, you absolutely need to watch that video next. It's right here on the screen. Click it right now. I'll see you there.